But we're gonna get into some nuggets, y'all. You know we're gonna get into some nuggets, y'all. You know we're gonna dig in. You know we're gonna dig in a little bit. We're gonna dig in a little bit. We're gonna dig in. We're gonna dig in. Jackie's showing off all the smoothies now. And man, I think only took about a year and a half, but
Karen shared her dinner meal this evening.
No.
And that looked good too. I just don't have any imagination. So when I see something that looks good,
right,
I'm like, okay, that doesn't look too hard. I think I'll give that a try. So
yeah,
the more people share, the more I learn.
Absolutely. I'm in agreement, y'all. I'm in agreement with that.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Hello.
Good. You know I like to be prompt, right? So we're gonna get pushing. We ain't got no time. We ain't got no time to be fooling with folks. We ain't got no time. We ain't got no time. But good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. I know black folk gonna show up in a minute. Don't worry. It's gonna be all right. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get pushing. We're gonna get pushing, y'all. We're gonna get pushing. Great to see y'all. See, look. See, you see what I mean? It's great to see y'all. And we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about some stuff, y'all. We're gonna dig in a little bit. Got a little bit on my mind. I'm gonna go ahead and lay it on y'all. I always pray before we talk, so I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm straight, y'all. I am straight. Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time out of your crazy, hectic COVID schedule to share some time and talk. And it's always a pleasure to see y'all. And it's always a pleasure to watch y'all moving forward. You know, I get a lot of pleasure just watching y'all move forward. You know, I see y'all showing off your outfits. I mean, somebody yesterday, she gonna send me her picture. We were joking around about something, and one of the things I always tell people that I want them to do is to go in their closet and get an outfit or a dress or pants or something like that. Take it out of the outfit and make it theirs. And so there was one of the ladies, and she broke out her pants. We were talking about her pants. She said, "You know, I haven't gotten in them pants. I even tried." She forgot about it. It's still on her phone because one of the things I have you do is put on your thing. I said, well, it would be a good idea maybe if you try it on now. And so anyway, last night she put it on, and man, she said this thing was about to fall off. Wow. So here is an outfit that she couldn't get in at all. Way in the back with the label still on, the tag still on. And here she goes. She's sitting like this in the window, in the mirror, showing off with the whole thing on, and she pulling at the waist because she got space. I said, well, you go ahead, girl. You go ahead. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of, as I always say, allowing that reticulating activating system work. You know, you guys have been setting goals all your life, right? So what says that you can't use the same goal to be able to reach your weight loss goals, right? Ain't no different. The brain is what I call is a heat-seeking missile. It's a heat-seeking device. It looks for a goal, and then when it finds the goal, it will work hell and high water to get to the goal. That's a beautiful thing, y'all. But what happens is we're not utilizing it correctly, or we don't utilize it at all, or we get frustrated. We get frustrated before we even get the opportunity to see the success, right? We'll go so far to the point where we're frustrated, and then you want to back off. But that's the same exact time that if you would have went a little further, you would have went over to where your success was. So the issue is, I don't want you to keep backing off. I don't want you to keep backing off and saying, no, you know what? This is not working for me. I don't know. Because only thing that's just the enemy trying to make sure that you don't get where you got to go. So that reticulating activating system, the beauty is that you got to have a goal and you got to set on this thing. And you got to make it yours, and it can't be somebody else's. So whenever you set a goal for yourself, it can't be something that somebody else decided you need to do. It must be something that you are willing to commit to. And even if you fall back a little bit and you get frustrated and you start falling, you know my motto is brand new day, brand new you. You blow it off, you look at the next day and say, okay, well, it didn't work out today. You don't just get mad and say, let me try again tomorrow. No, you go back that day and then look to see what happened. Don't just go to the next day and say, let me try it again. And then let me try it again. At least look and see what was the issue? What was the impact? Why is this occurring? And take a little bit of time. Now, don't kick rocks. Don't be upset and don't be all frustrated because you didn't get there. But the key is that you just want to look at this and say, all right, let me keep it real with myself and let me figure out what's wrong. Better yet, you got a trainer right now. You got somebody that's that's on your side and I promise you this, I'm not going to judge you at all. If anything, if you give me a little bit of insight, the beauty is that the relationship that we have right now is what I call a mastermind group. And a mastermind group is exactly what the Lord wants you to do. He wants you to get involved with another person or a spiritual family that is not in a position to judge you, but is in the position to also help and orchestrate. Because here it is, and I joke around, using it in football terms, you're on the ground and you're doing all your movements and everything. But then you got some dude way up in the skybox and he's watching all the plays. So you got the one football player that's on the ground and he's doing the move that the guy in the skybox gave you the advice, gave it to the quarterback, and all of a sudden that move played. But the guy in the skybox is watching all the plays, watching everything that's going on. And then what he does, he give you a little bit of insight and say, you know what? So it's not the fact that I'm trying to say I'm almighty and no, but if you know me by now and you know my heart, then you know that I will work. The same thing as the reticulating activating system that you have to get your goals. Everybody that is part of my tribe or whatever you want to call it, my reticulating activating system is working, and my job is really to get you where you want to go. That's it. That is it. Now, the only catch to that is to have an open mind about it and don't allow yourself to beat yourself up every time that it just doesn't work. Because what we're trying to do, you're battling decades. I mean, look how old you are, not being sarcastic, but look how old you are and then just saying, okay, I'm this age and this is new to me. This might be 5 months, a year, a half a year. So this is all new. And I got 50 years of baggage or whatever you want to call it that I got to battle, that I'm confronted with every day. So that's a struggle. It ain't easy. I never said it was. But when you start seeing small successes, then you realize, it's worth it. It's worth it. And then when you see your body be resilient, because it will, it is so resilient. So the only thing I ask you to do is to make sure that you just keep your goals in front of you. Tough thing is coming, right? This holiday is about to come. And this right here is the most disruptive time. I've seen people fall off the wayside in 2 months. Boom. And then January come. And you want to come up with some New Year's resolution that you want to start over. So you took 10 months of just gutting it out, getting your habits, everything in place. And then in 2 months, you destroyed that because you fell not just a couple of days, cheat days. You made them cheat weeks, and then a cheat month, and then 2 cheat months. And you realize in 2 months' time, all the work that you did for a year basically goes away. Goes away. Because remember, all these thought processes and all the habits that you had, the neural pathways that what you were from day one, from 50 years ago, all the things are still there. They still resolve there in your mind. And as you chip away at these new habits, the old ones are going to come back to the surface and take control. And by default, they're going to come back. And that's not maybe, it will. So what we got to do is that even with the holidays, all I'm asking you to do is, if you fall off a little bit, just make sure the next day you restart and just say, don't even kick rocks about it. Just say, you know what? This is good. I'm going to move on to the next day. So the biggest thing I want to say is that goal setting is going to be the key. And one of the things I want to do more than ever is I've been working real hard, and I'm very appreciative for people to also respond back to the group. Reason being is because one of the things that I found, because obviously I ask everybody, because I want to figure out how I can make you guys better and myself. And one of the things that resonates a lot is many people would like to know more about the other people that are in the group, right? Because all of you are really in the same direction, right? All of you are looking to accomplish the same thing, pretty much, just differently because your personality is different. But at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to have a better quality of life. So every one of you really want to have a better quality of life. And some people more than others, some people really, really thrive on watching other people succeed because it drives them more. And then you have other personalities that I wouldn't say don't care less, but their mind is like, I just got to go get it. I'm going to just go get it. But the biggest thing, it's amazing when, again, you have a mastermind group of multiple people that are working together for the same good. And then by default, all boats going to rise. All boats rise. When you rise the tide, all ships come up at the same time. Whenever we're doing something together, the only thing, if you even have a small success, even if you had a picture of something that was delicious, or something you recently made, like a smoothie that was like red, like a reddish kind of smoothie, the only thing you want to do is post it. Let people know. You know what I mean? Let people know what you're doing, because it might be something that you did that touches somebody else, and you're like, man, I'm not doing this alone. So what I ask you to do is, if you can, be a little bit more kind or be thoughtful about posting some things and share with other people, because those things that you share is really important to others. It may not be to other people, but overall, even you sending it out, there's also a burst of adrenaline. Every time that you send something out, whether you realize it or not, there's a little bit of endorphin that goes out. An endorphin in your body goes out every time you send an email or a message out to somebody else, whether you realize it or not. It's the same thing. Like, I'm a task-oriented person, right? So if I put something in my app, I have an app that's called Todoist or something. I'll put it in there, even though I did it without using the app. I will put it in the app so I can check it to say I did it. And what that does, it gives me a little adrenaline. It's like, yes, you know, I messed up. No, I'm going to write it in there and just check it. And I'm like, yes, it's just a little burst, right? But what you got to do is you got to have wins. You got to have small wins for yourself every single day. You got to have these little small wins. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about was, number one is, I'd like you, if you can, to have more of a relationship on the messaging part of the app, right? The second thing was, that it really does excite me because I'm seeing so much success, small amounts of success that are happening all around for everyone, right? Whether being small, whether little, big, but what's amazing that everybody is getting closer to their goal, whether it being they drank another 10 ounces or maybe they lost 10 pounds. Hold on. Somebody's making some racket, man. What is that? Hold on a second. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the small successes you have, make sure that you take into consideration that it's not just a small thing, it's big. Any little thing that you've done is a big thing. Any little thing that you've done is a big thing in the scheme of things. So just be mindful of when you're doing your small accomplishments or big accomplishments. The other thing that I was going to bring up was that some people were asking me about the water check. So some people thought the water check was just, they see it and say, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to drink my water, but they don't think that they're supposed to tell me how many ounces they had with the water check. So that's fine that you've been drinking water, but I'd appreciate if you let me know how much you drink. That would be phenomenal. One of the things also is in the MyFitnessPal, and I think almost everybody, and I think I was sending a message to a couple of people, that in the MyFitnessPal and the Trainerize app, they sync to one another. And when they sync to one another, inside the Trainerize app, it will show just a summary of what you did. So in other words, in the Trainerize app, I could look at the app and it would say the carbs you had, the proteins you had, the fats you had, and the overall amount of calories that you consumed that day. Mm-hmm. Without that, though, I would have to every time go into the MyFitnessPal and to look at that. So it's very, very easy. And if you're not synced to the MyFitnessPal, if they're not recognized, then it's a very simple thing. You can send me an email. I'll definitely, no problem, help you walk through it. So the two things that we do want to stay with is, number one, that everybody has a certain goal that they should meet, which would be whatever, 300, 1,300, 1,200, 1,400, whatever it is. But that's really the goal that you want to meet. But on top of that goal, the second strategy is to have 100 grams of carbohydrates a day.
Less than. Thank you. The two goals that you're shooting for is, number one, stay within the range of caloric breakdown that you're having. And then the second one is to be no more than 100 grams a day. Are there days you're going to go over? Absolutely. But what you're trying to do is that by doing that, you've got to understand, like we said before, that any carbohydrate you consume, or every single carbohydrate, is a sugar, whether it being healthy or not healthy. Obviously, the more processed it is, the more detrimental it is to your body. But a carbohydrate is a carbohydrate, period. Right? So the key thing is you don't gain weight because of the amount of fat you consume, and you don't gain weight because of the amount of protein you consume. You gain weight because of the amount of carbohydrate you consume. That's it, period. You got three forms, but it's the carbohydrate is what's jacking everybody up. The carbohydrates is what causing people to have diabetes. It's not the protein and it's not the fat. So what we want to do is we want to control the carbohydrates, and we also want to come to a happy medium where the beauty is, okay, you got 100 grams of carbs, but guess what? You can have fats and you can have protein now. So you're not starving yourself, nor do I want to. That is the worst thing you can do, is starve yourself. And it's also the worst thing you to do to say,
Hey, Wallace, I did even better than that. I only did 50 grams of carbs. Ain't nobody asked you to do that. There's no record. No records are broken if you only did 50 grams. I want you to be between 80 and 100. 80 and 100 carbs. Because if you go any lower, what you're doing is you're taking away from the energy that you're going to need in order to do the activities. Right? If carbohydrates is your energy source and you're not giving your body the appropriate amount of carbohydrates, then you're not going to be optimum on your activity. You're going to be tired, you're going to be exhausted, and you're not going to be able to heal when you go to bed at night. So no, there's no winner's cup for you to have 30 grams and 40 grams, because now you're almost in a keto situation. Nobody asks you to be on a keto diet. What we ask you to do is just to have some carbohydrates, but you want to stay as clean as you can with the carbohydrates. All right, we good with that one? All right. Next one was somebody had asked me a question about oils, and we all. Oh, let me go back one. Today's my. You'll get a kick out of this. Today is my daughter's birthday. She's 19 years old today, right? And so she had asked what she wanted to have. She said, she didn't say it, but she said it. So she said it before, but she wanted some mac and cheese. No problem. So I have, and I've been talking about this a lot. A lot of the things I post actually is coming out of this. It's called a Ninja, and a Ninja is a food processor. But the food processor, it air fries, it pressure cooks, and it also grills. It does all three. It's phenomenal. And so today, I made some mac and cheese in the pressure cooker. There was 5 ingredients for the mac and cheese. Number 1, butter, and there was only 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 cups of water, and it was sharp cheddar and white cheddar. That was it.
What about the mac?
And the macaroni. The macaroni, sorry. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
The macaroni was gluten-free macaroni. It was gluten-free. All right. So watch this now. That's 5 ingredients. 5 ingredients. I put it in there, that bad boy. And so what happened was that the flour and everything created, in the pressure cooker, it created a roux. Right? So the roux was in a different part. So I put the roux inside there. I put the cheese in, boom. It was a wrap. Let me tell you something. Man, this thing was on point. On point. It was 1 serving, right? Because we just made enough for today, right? If my son could eat mac and cheese every day, he would. We made 1 serving, so everybody now, let me talk about this real quick. Was there a lot of carbs? I'm going to ask you the question. Was there a lot of carbs in mac and cheese? There's only one, that whole scenario, the only 2 places where carbs came from
The cheese.
was, no, cheese has no carbs, y'all. There's no carbs in cheese. Sorry.
So I can add cheese to my omelet.
Here we go. I knew that. So there's no carbs in cheese, y'all. There's no carbs, right? So where did the carbs come from? The carbs only came from the 2 tablespoons of flour and the gluten-free macaroni. That is it. So was it really a crushing meal? No. Actually, it had plenty of protein and it had fat. And we didn't gorge ourselves. So in a sense, that would have been a cheat meal for the week.
So if I'm telling people that you should have at least, if you do everything correct and you're eating 5 to 6 meals every single day, then you're entitled to 3 cheat meals. I didn't say cheat days. I said cheat meals. You're entitled to 3 cheat meals because guess what? How many meals did you have over the course of the week? Almost 40. You had almost 40 meals, 42 meals, right? 42 meals. You messed up 3. And what's the problem? I don't know about you, but I like them odds. So if you did everything correct and you had 3 cheat meals, I don't really see a big problem with that, y'all. If I told you not to have any cheat meals, the day that you get a chance to cheat, man, it's going to be Thanksgiving that day. It's going to be Thanksgiving. And you're going to have your whole... So I'd rather you just say, okay, I'm going to have me a cheat meal. I'll have another cheat meal. But the thing is that you still, in order for you to have the cheat meals, you also have to make sure that you're doing the right thing the rest of the week. You can't, so if you know on Saturday you're going to go out with your husband or significant other or whatever, or friend or whatever, and you know you're going to have a nice meal, I want you to have the meal guilt-free. Don't have a cheat meal and be guilty about the cheat meal because now you're messing up. If you're going to have a cheat meal, daggone it, you better enjoy that bad boy and have no regrets. What is the point of doing that? What is the point of being upset about the cheat meal that you're going to have? If you roll into my Fitness Pal and I see it, I'm be like, what in the world? But in my mind, I'm like, oh, shoot, she been good all week. I ain't worried about that. But, oh, yeah, I'm going to send you a message. I might give you a hard time about it. But at the end of the day, I also know and you also know, listen, you were doing sweet all week. So if you had a meal and you just fell off, it's not even really falling off the wagon. I mean, essentially, the cheat meals that you set up for yourself should be already almost pre-designed. You know what I mean? Like you already know, like Saturday's going to be, it's on Saturday. Thanksgiving. I ain't worried about while it's on Thanksgiving. I'm just getting down. Matter of fact, all 3 of my cheat meals going to be that one day. You know what I mean? So, but you have to be, you have to really, really focus on those Sundays, making that meal prep the day that you're prepping. I can't tell you how important the meal prep on Sundays is to make sure that the rest of the week goes sweet. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be all over the place all week long. All week long, you're going to be all over the place. If you set everything else on Sunday, literally you could make yesterday or the other day I took a pic when I sent the message out, we made a whole turkey, right? And I said, well, who says you got to have a turkey on Thanksgiving? Man, you can have a turkey anytime. The beauty of that turkey, I can make 4 meals out of that bad boy. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm having turkey that day. Another one might be a turkey pot pie. The next one, we might make some sandwiches or put it on chop some up and put it in my omelet in the morning. We making this thing work, boy. Shoot. So if you're making something, don't just make one serving. If you're going to make a turkey, listen, the turkey is one of the most healthiest meals you can have. It's nothing but some good old-fashioned protein. And you can throw that together on a lot of things. So there's a lot of things that we're doing that we could simply do anytime. So the question was about oils. What oils are good? What oils can you cook with? What oils are, because you understand also that many oils that you use can go rancid as soon as you cook them. And I'm sure that, you've cooked plenty of times and you put something in it and immediately started to burn. What it did, it went rancid, but what happens is the smoke point on that particular, whatever it is that you were cooking with, was too high, meaning the heat just kind of burned it up and made it, and now you destroyed the texture and the flavor of your meal because now you burnt up the butter. Butter has a very, very low smoke point.
That's why you put butter in, you cook it real quick, the thing turns brown like immediately. And now you messed up the flavor of the meal. So here were the thing, and I actually took a screenshot I'm going to share with you in a second, but a lot of people will use olive oil to do their sauteing and everything else. Olive oil is fantastic. Olive oil doesn't really burn that much. But here would be the thing that I would rather you save your money and get the regular olive oil if you're going to use that to saute instead of the extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil could cost you $5, $7, $8 more. Really what you should have both. You have the extra virgin and you have the regular. Because whenever you cook the extra virgin olive oil, as soon as you cook it, all of the goodness that was in the olive oil has been burnt off as soon as the heat hits it. So all the qualities that were in the extra virgin olive oil, as soon as you put it on the cook it, all those ingredients that you spent money to get the extra effervescence and everything else has been burnt. It burns away because of the heat. So that means whenever you're going to saute or do anything that requires high heat and you use an olive oil, just use the regular one. So really, you should have 2 bottles of olive oil. One that you're using to make salads, your dressings, or whatever, that is not going to be under heat, because that way you're getting all the antioxidants and everything that's still there. And then the other one that you're going to use to cook with, because you know what? The extra virgin olive oil now turns into regular olive oil by the time you cook it. Right? So you're better off just getting to both and then save some money. Because every time you're doing that, you're really losing money. So I'm going to share you a screen real quick. And the screen is basically, where is it? One second. Where is it? One second. That ain't it. Hold on a second, y'all. This is it. All right, perfect. All right. What I wanted to do is to show you this real quick. All right. So what this basically says here is the smoke points of different oils. You notice that butter has the lowest smoke point. And that's why that one burns up so quick. As soon as you heat it up, it turns brown, but that brown makes it turn rancid. So the next one is your coconut oil. You notice that butter, you see, that's the quickest one it burns, but you see the rest of them are pretty much in the same range. Your coconut oil, your sesame oil, your lard, olive oil, canola oil, that one should not be in your house, period. Olive oil, and then look at ghee. Look at where ghee is. Ghee has one of the highest smoke points. It's butter, right? So ghee is butter. Now look at regular butter, which is 200, and look at the ghee. 200 degrees more, simply because all the dairy has been taken out of the ghee, taken out of the butter. It's clarified butter. That's what ghee is. Which means that when I cook my omelets, everything like that, I use ghee. What I end up doing is, before I even put the omelet on it, I throw all my vegetables and saute everything. Make it sauteed first. While that's cooking, now I'm getting my eggs together, putting in the seasonings, blah, 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 whatever. While the vegetables and everything is still cooking and sauteed, then I throw the eggs right up in there. I either leave it alone and make it an omelet, or I just stir it around and then make it a scramble. But essentially, when you're using ghee or coconut oil or olive oil, the best way to do that is going to be to saute your vegetables and everything in the same pan, let that saute, and then throw the eggs in after. Right? So you're not making a big issue about it, but that's the best way I found to do it. All right. So I wanted to just bring that up. The next thing was this, because I wanted to dive in a little bit about some some of the issues right now is regarding processed foods, and I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to dive into this. Some of the things that you're going to see that I'm showing you, because we've been talking about this before, but I've been spending a lot of time right now trying to get this alternate website up that's called youbfit University. And youbfit University is basically going to be a website that basically educates you in the area of nutrition, mostly nutrition, but also weight loss. But a lot of the documents, a lot of things, that materials that I'm kind of sending over to you will be in one location. And because you're a client, you'll have free access to the site. Other people will have paid access to the site, but if you're a client, you'll have free access to the site. So a lot of the content that you've probably been seeing that I've been sending out in messages and YouTube videos and all that, well, all that content will be organized on that site. So if you were looking for recipes, you could see it. If you were wanted to get some insight about weight loss or, fats or carbs, all those are going to be on the website. So I'm excited about it, but obviously it takes quite a bit of time in order to get that together. So one of the things I did want to show, this is actually one of the documents that are going to be posted up there, was, and hopefully you can see it clearer. Hope you can see it. But it was talking about where you have whole foods all the way to what's called processed foods. And if we run across this, you'll notice that the origination of rice is really from brown rice. But then when it starts getting processed, it turns to white rice. And then the most highly processed, whether you think about it or not, is rice puff cereal. Right? So you got brown rice, white rice, and then rice puff cereal, which is highly processed. Why do I say it's highly processed? Because it doesn't really expire, right? Rice puffs don't expire. I mean, you could have rice puffs forever. If we use the same thing, let's talk about your vegetables. You have the fresh vegetables that comes right out of your farm, and then you have the canned carrots, but then you got the veggie straws. If you're getting veggie straws from, like, let's say you're in a rush. A lot of people would go and get, a pre-made vegetable platter or anything like that. There's a problem of doing that. Even though you might think it's healthy, but there's a significant amount of chemicals that are in there to preserve the fruits or the vegetables or anything that's in it, right? So in a sense, if you're getting it already prepackaged, the truth is it's very, very highly processed. And there's a lot of chemicals to make sure that this thing preserves. If you talk about your fruits, the exact same thing. You're talking about apples, applesauce, and then what are you doing? Most people are putting store-bought, muffins. You're putting apples inside the muffins now, right? Same thing with your beans. You got the regular beans that you have to basically soak yourself, and then you got canned beans, and then you got what's processed now is your beans that are put into chips. So as we go across the board, the higher the process, the more detrimental or the more tough that your body has to metabolize that same product. It still may have the same thing. Same thing with your baked chicken. You got baked chicken, then you got fried chicken, and you got store-bought chicken nuggets, which is the worst of the worst because it's mechanically separated and you really, really don't know what's in that chicken. You go with your seafood, you got your whole food, your shrimp that you're getting that's whole, your canned shrimp, and then you got the store-bought popcorn shrimp. And lastly, you've got your peanuts, where you got your regular peanuts that are shelled, then you got your processed peanut butter, and then you have your peanut butter cookies, right? So you're getting you're getting all these products, but what happens is every time that it's been processed, all the nutrients that originated from the original spot is now gone. So now what you've done is that if you look at from the beginning where you're getting everything that came from the ground that God actually made, there's a lot of fiber here, which means it does not cause your insulin to go high and it doesn't spike. But the more over you go to it being processed, now your body really has nothing else to do except to convert it into sugar because there's no more fiber. It's been literally stripped. So the more food you eat that's been stripped of its fiber, the easier it's going to be for your insulin to be spiked and the closer you're going to get to being diabetic. So what am I saying? You want to be trying to get as close as you can to the land. As clean as you can go is where you want to stay. So if I go further now, and I'm going to bring this up. If we talk about carbohydrates, and this is really a sheet that we talk about what you could eat most of, what you should eat some of the time, and then some of them that you should eat less of. And again, if you look at the same scenario, you're seeing beans, lentils, steel cut, old-fashioned oats, buckwheat, quinoa, brown rice, farro, mullets, potatoes, Greek yogurt, plain non-Greek yogurt, kefir, fresh fruits, frozen fruits, corn, sweet potatoes. That is really the spectrum of food you really should be eating. This is where your bulk of your food should be coming from. To have some, if we go a little bit over, is couscous, granola, white rice. Why? Because now we're talking about things, the foods are now being stripped. Your instant oatmeal, same thing. All the fiber has been stripped. Your milk, the biggest problem with milk that all of us are lactose intolerant, some more than others, but the biggest issue here is that it's not really the lactose, but it's also the amount of chemicals that were put into that cow in order for it to make it grow quickly. If you really knew the amount of phlegm that's in that milk, you wouldn't drink any milk. You really wouldn't. So you got your vegetable juices that are bottled. You got your flavored yogurts because there's sugar in it. You got your flavored kefir. You notice you got plain kefir. Plain kefir is awesome, right? Because really it's an excellent probiotic. But again, you can get kefir, but if you put flavor in it, now you're losing this because of the sugar. Same thing with your pancake and waffles, any kind of whole grain crackers, oat-based granola bars, any dried fruits, right? So now we're back to that when you're dealing with these, I'm trying to get this out of here. I'm trying to move this. If you're trying to eat cleaner, this is where you don't want to be. Now, lastly, it's this area where you were dealing with the cereal bars, your fruit juices, your flavored milks, your honey, your molasses, and different syrups, jellies, your canned dried fruits, your sodas, your white crackers, your white sugar, your regular pretzels, and any of the foods that have additional sugars like M&Ms and all those other things, that is crushing you. And then obviously last but not least, you're getting your chips, your fries, your candy bars, donuts, cookies, pastries, muffins. Realize all of these are carbohydrates. Every one of these are carbohydrates. But again, where should your carbohydrates come from? Is over here where it says more, right? And where we need to lean away from is the area that's more highly processed. All right, so the next one second. Trying to get this thing. If we go into the next scenario, same thing. If we're talking about proteins. And the reason why I want to take a little bit of time, because this is really where this is our house right now, right? Because if we're focused on eating, then I really wanted to take a little bit of time to let you really understand the protein you should be consuming and some of the proteins you should be really getting rid of. So again, if we talk about proteins you should be consuming, egg whites, but eggs. Remember what we said is don't believe the hype. You should just be eating egg whites. Because the only thing is if you're eating egg whites, you're getting a lot of protein. But the nutrients in your eggs are coming from the egg yolk. So if you're always eating egg whites, you're getting a lot of protein, but you're losing all the nutrients, which is inside the yellow, which is the yolk. And there's no problem. It's not the issue with the cholesterol in your eggs. Eggs cholesterol is not the cholesterol that's affecting your problems. There's two types of cholesterol. One is very thick cholesterol, and one is a very thin cholesterol that your body can metabolize. The cholesterol that's in eggs and other foods like that, your body can metabolize, and it does not affect your cholesterol health. It's the other ones that come from these processed foods that have your oils that are highly processed, and that's where your cholesterol is coming from the triglycerides that are coming from the oils, not from the healthy oils that you're getting from your cholesterol. So again, you're talking about your fish, salmon. You're leaning away from farm raised, right? Not all salmon is the same. If you're gonna have salmon, you really need to go with Atlantic salmon or your ocean salmon. Bottom line. Your shellfish, go easy on the shellfish, right? Because shellfish are bottom feeders. And if the shellfish are bottom feeders, guess what? All the residue and all the chemicals and all the HBCs and all the stuff that's in the ocean, those shellfish consume those. So with you eating the shellfish, you're also eating everything that's on the bottom of the floor of the ocean. Your chicken, obviously chicken is great. Chicken breast is awesome, but there's nothing wrong with you having dark chicken. It is not that much of a big deal, y'all. My preference is actually dark chicken.
Wallace, I have a question.
Sure.
When you talk about ocean salmon, does that equate to wild caught?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. See, the problem with the farm-raised salmon is three things. Number one, we talked about it before, but farm-raised salmon is gray. It's gray. It's gray in color, period. Because remember, what farm-raised salmon is really eating is soy pellets. But in addition to the soy pellets, it's also consuming antibiotics just to keep them from disease. So you're getting soy pellets, plus they're getting pellets that are antibiotics to keep them from getting disease, because they're in these massive farms and they're eating each other's feces and their waste, and they're getting sick. So in order for them to prevent them from getting sick, they have to get antibiotics. You don't need antibiotics in your food. We got enough antibiotics already. And then the last thing is that they got to color it red. That's where the red dye 40, that's banned in every other country except the United States. But that's what is getting on the salmon to make it red. So you're losing all the way around, y'all. So the soy pellets is giving you inflammation. So you're getting salmon, you're getting farm-raised salmon, but you're getting the soy, and the soy is giving you inflammation. I don't think that's a good idea. Next thing is your duck breasts, thighs, turkey, lean beef, bison, lean pork, wild game, other meats, plain Greek yogurt, tempeh, cultured cottage cheese, and insects. But
insects.
What I said by that, because the biggest thing now is actually cricket protein. I'm sure you heard of it before. Cricket protein is actually one of the biggest and highest form of protein that you can have. They're actually crickets that are dried crickets. You don't want that, really. But it's actually a very good protein. And then you got your lentils and beans. One things that you can eat some of is your cultured cottage cheese, lean meats, tofu. But see, these things right here is not really, you're going to deal with, the only thing you're really dealing with here is your nitrates. A lot of the things that you're dealing in this area is dealing with nitrates. You got protein powders, yes, but again, your Canadian bacon, the beef jerky, a lot of these have it, the deli meat, a lot of these happen to have nitrates, and that's not really what you want to have. And then the last one you want to eat less of is just the fried foods, your high-fat meats, your sausages, your hot dogs, processed soy, your processed meats, your protein bars, because a lot of them are really candy bars. They're not, right? Pepperoni sticks, and the last thing is your high mercury fish, right? So you have tuna, but if you're going to have tuna, the albacore needs to stay in the store, and you need to go for the light tuna. It's just the opposite what you probably think. You pay more for the albacore, but remember, the albacore is a big old tuna. And guess what that big tuna is doing? It's eating all the little tuna. And guess what the little tuna have been eating? All the mercury that's in the ocean. So you're getting all the mercury from the little fish, and this big fish is taking in all those little fish mercury. So what you want to do is you want to go with the light tuna, because at least you're not getting inundated with so much mercury, right? And even better, there's a lot now that says dolphin safe or wild, or actually wild caught, which means that they're being caught in a healthy, holistic way through a net. All right. And the last thing I wanted to leave you with was your fats. Now, the only thing I want to open up. Good. So we talk about fats, and this actually goes back to the oils again, right? So your best oils is going to be your extra virgin oil, your walnut oil, different marinades have oils, avocado oil, your cheese. But the key was that your cheese, you want to have them aged. An aged cheese is about 6 months and more, right? So if you're going to get your cheese, you want them aged, because that with the cheese being aged, there's more probiotics in there. Your egg yolks and your eggs, chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, your cashews, your pistachios, a lot of your nuts, those are all healthy fats. Pecans, pesto, nut butters, and unprocessed coconut. Even your coconut oil. But then now you're going to get into the areas where you're starting to worry about would be your extra virgin light. Light olive oil is a different scenario, because now you're kind of losing all the nutrients. You're getting all the fat still, but you're not getting the right nutrients, right? So light is not what you want to use. You don't want to use canola. Sesame seed oil has a lot of inflammation properties to it. And plus it's expensive, and you don't need to cook with that as much. Flaxseed oil, peanut oil, these are all good, but you're going to get a better bang for your buck, obviously, from the your virgin olive oil, your avocado oil. There's nothing wrong with coconut oil, because I use that significantly. Peanut oil, nothing really wrong with it, but if you're going to use for what is going to be more heart healthy, it's going to be your virgin olive oils, avocado oils, eggs, and things like that, right? Again, your dark chocolate, your fish oils, all that is good. Your cheeses, your creams, nut butters, all that is good. But then the area you want to stay away from now is going to be your bacon, your sausages, your nitrates, your butter. But if ghee is it's different, right? Because ghee doesn't have the dairy. Margarine, you need to not have it all. Processed cheese, not at all. Corn oil, not at all. Coconut, cottonseed oil, not at all. Sunflower is not really the best oil. Corn oil, soybean oil, a lot of the marinades, a lot of your marinades and a lot of your dressings you're getting from the store, if you look at it, you'll see it has soybean oil. It will either have soybean oil or vegetable oil, and vegetable oil and soybean oil are pretty much the same. And then you got your hydrogenated fats. This is where your cholesterol is coming from. Your hydrogenated fats. That's where your cholesterol is coming from. And the shortening is where the cholesterol is coming from. So this
The vegetable oil, hydrogenated oils, and the shortening is mostly where your cholesterol is coming from, including the canola. So the biggest thing is that you do want to focus on your fats, your proteins, and carbs, but there's a big difference between them. There is a humongous difference between the two. So not all foods are the same, and your body doesn't metabolize all the foods the same either. So you just really got to be a little bit more, we have to just be a little bit more conscious on the choices that we're having and the things that we're consuming. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Again, so we're still talking about the same carbs, proteins, and fats, but remember, when you scale everything out, remember, anything that goes in your mouth, I keep saying the same thing, as soon as it comes down your mouth, your body goes, are you a friend or are you a foe? If you're a friend, your body will metabolize it. It goes right into the system, into your gut, and it'll utilize it for fuel. But if it's a foe, now it's got to go through all the other organs. And now you got to deal with that. So the cleaner you want to be is being conscious. And this goes back to the MyFitnessPal. The more that you're putting your food into MyFitnessPal, the better off you're going to be, because you're really, really going to see what you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
You're really going to see what you're eating, and then you start seeing, I can promise you, by you tracking your food, it makes you mentally aware of what you're consuming. Even if you did not put it into MyFitnessPal and you're out and about, your brain already knows, oh, snap, I know this is about 150 calories, right? I ain't trying to do this right now because that's going to mess up my numbers, right? So if you keep doing this over and over, it's almost the fact you don't even need the MyFitnessPal anymore. You already know that I can't do this today because this is going to mess me up. So that 100 grams, if you've been doing it, and many of you have already been doing it, which you found out, it's not really that difficult. 100 grams of carbs is not that difficult. What you usually would have to do is say that 2 of my meals is going to be, could be 30 grams of carbs. And then my snacks, I can have some carbs here and there. But one of the 3 meals, the big meals that I'm going to have, is got to be lower in carbohydrates. And usually the best way to attack that would be at lunchtime. Right, so you can have a nice, because we're even me, I like carbs in the morning. That gets me rolling, right? So I get my carbs in. I still, and I think we talked about it last month, it's been 2 months now, I have had no bread, zero bread. And I'm going to tell you, I feel fantastic. The bloatedness that I even had when I was having bread is gone, right? And it just, my body feels cleaner. Not saying you got to get off bread, but I just wanted to do it for myself to see, because I'm a guinea pig. I use myself as a physical guinea pig. I'm like, let me see what destruction I can do this time. But the bread was the choice this time. But the beauty is that's a killer for your carbs. Bread is a killer for your carbs. That will destroy your carbs. Just one slice of bread, you can destroy your carbs. There's other options that are available. I mean, really right now, I've been eating a lot of quinoa, brown rice, wild grain rice, yams or sweet potatoes. We've been having a lot of spaghetti squash. We've been making zucchini squash, zucchini pasta. But again, it's just for you to think, okay, for breakfast, I'm going to have me carbs. For dinner, I'm going to have carbs. I can have a little something in the middle of the day, but I'd rather take those carbs and just have that in my snacks throughout the rest of the day, and then sit back like a fat cat and I can have my carbs for dinner. Because a lot of times when you take the carb, you have a big meal of carbs in the middle of the day, you're going to be sluggish. You're going to feel sluggish, and you're going to be you ain't going to feel right. So at least if you're going to have the carbs, a lot of you are doing boot camps and things like that in the evening. That's really where you should have your carbs, because every single time we finish, what am I saying?
Make sure you get your carbs and protein. Make sure you get your carbs and protein. Make sure you get your carbs and protein, because after you had the exercise, in the middle of the night, your body wants to recover, and you do need to have the fuel that's available for it to do that, y'all. You cannot go to bed starving. When you go to bed starving, you're making a big mistake, because your body can't heal now, because it's looking for the amino acids from the proteins in order to create building blocks for when you're sleeping. So even if you took a handful of almonds and went to bed, that's cool. Even if you made a celery sticks or carrot sticks and you had some hummus or you had some natural peanut butter or something, right? There's the fat. The fat is going to sit. Remember, fat does not make you fat, daggone it. It don't. It's got a bad name, but it doesn't make you fat. Fat does not make you fat. The only thing that makes you fat is carbs. That is it. That's it. So really, that's what I really wanted to cover, is just to really get into a nutrition point of view. And was there any questions, anything that we talked about the 3 food groups? Was there any questions? Even the diagrams? I mean, I could shoot those diagrams to you if you want to see them again.
Yeah. I'm a visual person. I need to see the pictures.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post it on the youbfit University site first, and then I'll send it to you guys as a link, so each one of them can be separate, right? And then you can have it.
I noticed on your chart you had potatoes. I thought potatoes was just like eating white rice.
So, excellent question. So the way the potatoes work is that you have different forms of potatoes. The best potatoes that you consume would be the sweet potatoes and yams. The worst potatoes you can eat would be your Idaho potatoes. Would be the baking potatoes that we're so used to having.
What about red ones?
Red potatoes, and I was gonna give you the order real quick.
Oh.
You got the Idaho potatoes. Really, please leave them in the store, y'all. Don't even buy them. Because you can have one of those potatoes and that's 2 Snicker bars. As far as your body equates to, your body said that equates to your body as 2 Snicker bars. So you might as well just had the 2 Snicker bars. Well, I mean, what you doing? So if you have one white potato, it's like having 2 Snicker bars, because they both convert themselves into sugar. And since that is very starchy, white potatoes are very starchy, that there's really nothing else available for your body to do to turn it directly into a sugar form. Now, if you go all the way to the other spectrum with your yams and your sweet potatoes, you're getting so many benefits because they're loaded with nutrients. It's very, very heavy, has a lot of fiber, and just the color itself has nutrients. Just the fact of the reddish pink color of it also has what's called phytonutrients in it that you're going to benefit from. So the order is going to be the white potatoes or bacon potatoes, leave them in there. The next one is going to be the red potatoes. They're still starchy, but they're better than white for sure. And then you'll see right now, you've seen a lot now, that the smaller potatoes are different colors, like rainbow color.
Yeah.
Those are excellent also.
Oh,
so
Trader Joe's has those.
Yeah. Those, if you, let me tell you something. They are very sweet. They have a lot of flavor. They're smaller, and they're awesome, right? So your order is going to be white potatoes, leave them there, red potatoes, then the multicolored potatoes, and then you have your yams. Then you have sweet potatoes, and then the yams. So yam is at the top of the food chain, and then the one that you want to eliminate is the white potatoes or yellow.
I thought yams and sweet potatoes were the same.
They're different. They're in the same family, but they're different. You'll notice that a yam is longer in color. The yam is rounder, sorry. Yam is rounder, and the sweet potato is more narrow. It's pointy.
Okay.
But the caloric content of them are about the same, but the nutrients in them, yams are better than sweet potatoes, nutrient-wise.
I have something. Oh, go ahead, Denise.
One more question. In my smoothies, I've been using bananas and strawberries. Should I really cut out the bananas?
The answer would be yes. The banana itself is 130 calories. 130 calories is that banana, and the bulk of those calories is from sugar. So then the issue is, okay, well, if I'm not going to have the banana, where am I going to get the sugar from? The sugar you can get from dates. I'd rather you use the pitted dates that are taking the pits out, and throw that in there. Because the amount of fiber that's in that bad boy, and it's sweet. It makes it sweet. Second thing, and this is what, you can take beets. But you take the raw beets and you cut them up into squares and then put them in saran wrap and use them bad boys as ice cubes. Let me tell you something. Beets are very sweet. When you throw them in your smoothie, it takes on a flavor composition that actually makes it taste like almost like a cherry. It gives it a cherry flavor to it. And beets is probably one of the most healthiest, most nutritious vegetables you can have. So what I end up doing, I'll take a bunch of organic beets. I'll clean them up, get as much dirt as I can, and then I cut them up into squares. And then I put them into saran wrap so they separate from one another, and then throw that in the freezer.
Do you keep the skin on? Do you keep the skin on?
I would take something to scrub as much as you can off of the top. You know what I mean? Like a SOS pad or something. I don't use an SOS pad, but there's things that you can use to scrape. Right? It's the same thing. It's actually Brillo, but it's not an SOS pad. But you use something to scrape it to get most of the dirt off. And then once you get to that point, now you cut that thing off. And what people are doing is throwing away the stalk.
That's where all the nutrients are.
That's where the nutrients are, y'all. You're throwing the stalk away. Why? You better keep that stalk. Throw that thing in your smoothie. So you clean this because beets are dirty. I mean, they've been sitting in the dirt. So you could soak them, but the key would be when you soak them, put them in water and baking soda. No.
Water and what?
Water and baking soda. Soak them in water and baking soda. Just soak them. Leave them in there, let them soak. The baking soda is going to break it up, make them loose, get some of the crud off, and now you can wipe them off. That baking soda is also very good to clean your produce. Water and baking soda. Put this baking soda in there, put the water, and just let the stuff soak. And it's excellent to get rid of a lot of the residue that's on your vegetables and fruits.
I just wanted to share with the group something that I've been using for my smoothies. I don't know if you can see this. It's called Smoothie Boost. It comes in super red and super green. It's made by a company called Just Good Flavor. It's all organic, all natural ingredients. And I was going to post it on the Trainerize group app because I'm not real good at typing in information in the chat section.
Yeah.
But for example, the Super Red Boost contains turmeric, beets. Is it called acai? Acai, peppercorn, pomegranate, and it really is quite good. I've been using a lot of the red in my smoothie, And just wanted to share that with the group.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. Jackie was telling me about that. I'm like, that sounds phenomenal. So if you could send the link to the company or the website or anything so people could see what
Sure.
it is, because when I saw the picture that you sent, I'm like, yo, that thing was really red. And then when you told me what it was, all the extracts in there, I can understand that. And every one of them are excellent for inflammation, and also the amount of nutrients you're getting phytonutrients in there. And all it did, it really enhanced the flavor, but also it also boosted up all the nutrients that are already in there. You've jumped it up about another three stages up. So I want to check it out myself. I never heard of that. So I want to see also. So I think that's great.
All right.
Excellent. Was any other questions? Anything else on your mind? Anything? The last thing I wanted to ask you real quick was that if somebody even wanted to talk about some of the success that they had while they've been on the program, or some of the things that they've been benefited from, if anybody wanted to share real quick, just to say, during in the program or whatever you've been doing, or some of the changes or some of the things that has helped you to stay steady on this journey, because I say it's a journey because it is. But maybe was there something that really allows you to really have a breakthrough, right? Something that made you have a breakthrough, allowed you to lose the weight, and something that maybe you wanted to share to let other people know. Anything?
I'm not a cook, never have been a cook. And the fact of people sharing the meals that they've prepared and showing pictures of that has helped me add variety to my diet, and I just appreciate that. I've purchased new pots and pans, measuring tools.
Now you a chef.
Look out, Jackie's coming. So.
That's good. That's good. No, it is excellent, because it's funny. I was talking to Karen, because when she sends her pictures out, she puts real work into it. I mean, you look at this thing, looks like a thing of art, and I'm like, man. So when you look at it, your mouth is watering, like, what in the world is all that there? But I mean,
I appreciate that.
Exactly.
If you don't have that imagination, and believe me, I don't have it. I just find it helpful.
Yeah. And one of the key things, even if you post, whatever it is that you post, and I appreciate you guys doing that even if you post, just say what it was that's in it. Because a lot of people are asking, like, okay, that looks good, but what the heck is it? You know? So if you post it, just let us know real quick what it is, that it is. So people can kind of get visual. And guess what? You're probably going to get somebody saying, well, tell me more, send me a recipe or anything like that. Right? So that's great. That's excellent. Anybody else before I let y'all cut y'all loose?
Well, this is Angela. I just wanted to say the clips, the youbfit clips, the one you posted the other day about thinking, how we think, right?
Mm-hmm.
That has really helped me. And just the affirmations that you send, your continued encouragement, that's helping me to continue on my journey, because sometimes I want to quit. I don't want to eat right sometimes. I don't want to exercise.
Right.
But your continued encouragement helps me to continue on the journey. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you, Angela. You all right. You all right.
This is Denise. I want to just say again, I just thank you, Wallace, because those affirmations, just like the young lady just said, has helped me. And the exercise, the daily assignments that I get, I'm actually hula hooping across the floor doing grapevines. So, but I am seeing a big difference in my tone up. I do work hard at it. and drinking more water than I ever did in my entire life. So
Yeah.
the program is really beneficial for me. Thank
You
you.
know, thank you. The water, tell me about, what have you realized since you've been increasing your water? What did you realize? Have you noticed any difference?
Absolutely. I'm thinking clearly. I feel really healthy. My husband is wondering where I'm getting all of this energy from.
I've noticed a change in my skin.
Yes, I was just going to say my skin, it has a gleam to it,
Uh-huh.
not dry like used to be.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
still a struggle for me with that 100,
right.
but every night, what I do, I have 3 containers. They're each 32 ounces. I prepare them the night before with lemon. I don't like cold water.
Mhm.
And they're on the kitchen counter. One is on my tray to see first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And my goal is to get those 3 down
Yeah.
before 6:30, 6:45 at the latest. Sometimes I mess up,
Right.
but most of the time I get it done.
Yeah. Excellent. And it's funny because, and I was sharing this the other day also, that everybody has their own method. Like, how am I getting my 100 in? And so that is excellent. And then other people will just take a rubber band. You know, let's say if you got,
Yeah.
you put in multiple rubber bands on that particular bottle, right? See, there you go. There you go. So you got rubber bands on there and you're counting them down. Like, okay, this is 32 ounces or 33 ounces. And you put 3 rubber bands on, and every time you refill it, take one off. Every time you lift it up and you're looking at it, you like, oh, I got 2 rubber bands. I got work to do. So whatever makes you trigger, because this is a habit, it's a new habit, it's got to be triggered, right? So whatever makes you trigger for you to get there. But absolutely, I know for a fact, anybody that has started hitting their 100, I know that they feel better. I know they're having better bowel movements. I know their skin is feeling better. I know they have less information. I know that they can think clearer. I know that the toxins are leaving their body. I know all of that for a fact. You don't even have to tell me. And you know what? Your body is so appreciative that you're allowing the toxins to come in and leave, as opposed to hang around and make your brain a fog, right? So that simple thing, just adding that extra water, even though it's an annoying in the beginning, after a while, you realize, you know what? I need to do it because I feel better doing it. So that's awesome. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Going once, going twice. So excellent, excellent. So good. I'm going to probably in the next day or two, because I still want to post it up on the site first before I send it out, because I want to make sure that at least you have a link. Because what happens, even me, if someone just sends me a PDF, man, that thing will be gone. I won't know. But at least if it's a link, that you can take that link and then bookmark it somewhere or whatever, then at least you'll have it. I'm excited when the youbfit University site is totally up, then it'll make it a lot more easy for you. But in the meantime, I'll make sure that they're links together, and at least you could take that and post it up somewhere. You could have it available. Even on your computer, make a little Wallace folder so you can load those things into one area and then just have them, right? But I'm very thankful that you guys are getting a lot out of those youbfit tips. I don't like making drawn out ones. I'd rather make them a minute, 2, 3, 4 minutes, because we ain't got time, and neither do I, right? So if you got a couple minutes, that makes sense. And, and if it cheers you up a little bit, that's all well and good. That's all well and good, right? So I'm proud of each and every one of y'all. I'm excited about the journey that you're going, and I'm excited about your commitment. So I'm proud of you, y'all. I'm very proud of y'all. Very proud of y'all. And thank you for your time. Please, if you got any messages, anything you want to send to me, or Any questions, anything offline that you just thought about it after the discussion we had, please let me know. And also tomorrow I will shoot out a link that will have this video, because it's going to be recorded, and I'll make sure that I can send the link out to everybody if you wanted to go through it again. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great night, y'all. See you next
Night.
time. Have a great one. Take care. Bye.
Yeah.
See ya.